Welcome back to Learning Partner. So with this video, I'm starting a new project. The project is already like flight booking application. So this is the flow diagram. Like what are the things we are going to do, how many roles we are going to have, that we will first discuss. Then I will explain the API also. Then we will start with the Angular project. Now, so if you see the flow diagram, first like app is there. Like when we say about flight booking, so obviously we are going to have an admin panel from where different vendors is going to add their flights according to their schedule, and we will have a website also. From there we can book the flights. Just like we will try to cover all the possible scenarios, whatever we normally do booking for a flight from any portal. So what things are there, that all flows we will try to cover. So first we will have an admin panel. So admin panel will have two roles. First is a super admin. Let's say super admin is like who will have all the authority, who will create the airport, who will add the cities. He can see all the flights, he can see all the bookings from all the vendors and everything. Another role is vendor. So vendor is like, if we talk about India, we have Indigo, SpiceJet, Air India. So all the vendors, all the airlines. So vendor will be like airlines. Like what are the airlines we have? They will have a login also. They will log into this admin panel. They will create all the flights according to their schedule from this airport to that airport with the specific time. They can see all flights created by him, right? Then they can see all the bookings received for the flights they have created. So these are the things we are going to have in the vendor login or the airline login. And this is the super admin. So this is admin part. Then second part will be website. Now on website, normal customer will access that website. He will search the flight from the website. If that particular customer is logged in, he can book the flight. If he's not logged in, he can register and then can book the flight. And he can see his all the bookings done by him. Like what are the bookings we customer did, that will be available in the super admin as well as in the vendor login also. So this is the normal flow we can expect when we talk about a flight booking application. Now, let's talk about the API. So in API, let me just search it. So APIs are, multiple APIs will be there because this is not just a small application. It will have some good amount of APIs. So you can see we have city API, like we can add whatever the cities we have that we can add. Then vendors, like vendor should be created, right? Then only their login will work. So get all vendor API is there, add vendor is there, login API is there. Login API will be single. It will be used for customer as well as super admin, as well as vendor. So single login API will be there, which will be used for all the different role. Based once we provide the proper credential, we will get the user details along with the role. Like the role is vendor or super admin or the customer. Then get all customer API is also there. Register API is also there. Get all airport API is there. Add update bulk airport. With this API, we can add the airport. This API will be used by super admin because only super admin will have the access to add to create the new airport. Then get all flight, search flight. Search a flight will be used in the website. Then add update flight. This API will be used by the vendor who will create their flights. Then book ticket. This API will be used by the customer when they finally decided like which flight they need to book. Then get all flight booking. This API will be used to get all the flight bookings received for the particular flight. Then get booking by flight ID. This is the API. If we send a particular flight ID, it will get the bookings received for that particular flight. Then get passenger list by flight ID. Let's say we need the list of passenger traveling in that particular flight. So this is the API which we are going to need. We just need to send the flight ID. Then we will get the list of passengers. Now, so this is about, we have explained the flow diagram and the APIs also which we are going to use. Now coming back to Angular side. So empty project I have created. Now, so I'm using Angular 17, but with the standalone false, means the existing framework. So this, whatever the code I do will be available, will work same in the older version also. Now, if you want to create a new project, you just have to open a folder. You need to type ng new and the project name. Once you do that, the basic project will be created. Now, in this project, I have added a bootstrap.js also. Sorry, bootstrap and the font awesome, because we need the icon and the bootstrap. After adding in the these packages in the package.json, in angular.json, we need to register them also. So here in the style section, I have added bootstrap and the font awesome. Now, so in src folder app, we will have the parent component. So once we create the project, we get the basic what do we say, UI. Let's try to run the project first. So now to run the project, you have to use the command ngs hyphen ngs hyphen o is just to open the default browser by default. So this is the first time I'm running this. So it will take some time. Let me show you the package.json till then. So you can see this is the Angular 17 project, Bootstrap and the font awesome. Just two extra libraries I have added. So you can also just install Bootstrap and the font awesome. I don't cover everything in detail in this video because this is project specific. This video will be helpful if you know the basic concept. So there are playlists in my YouTube channel also to get the basic knowledge. Then you can start now. So once the project run, you can see the basic code is there. So this is coming from app component. So let's remove and let's just type hello. Let's save. Now you will only see hello over here. Correct? Now, let's discuss what are the components we are going to need. Now, if you see the flow diagram, let's see again and let's discuss like what components we are going to need. First, like we will create two major folder, admin and website. The project I will be creating is simple, not with the lazy loading. So just to separate out the component, I'm going to create admin and the website folder. Now in admin, we are going to need a components like flight, new flight. This component is going to be responsible to create the new flight. Means we will have a form over there. Then flights component. In this component, we will show all the flights information. We can search it, edit and the delete buttons will be there. Then for all the flights. Same component we will use for super admin and the vendor also. But if the vendor logged in, so he can only see the booking received for his flight, for particular his flights only. But if the super admin login, he can see all the vendors flight. We will role based how we are going to do that, because same component will be used for super admin and the vendor also. But according to the role, we will make different API call. Then flights is done, create flights is done, airport. In this component, we will do the CRUD operation of airport. Then city. In this component, we will do the CRUD operation of city also. These are the components we are going to need in the admin panel. Now coming back to website. So in website, we will have one component that is search page. This will be landing page by default. Then we will have a for login and the registration, we can create a new component also, or in a model pop-up also we can do that, because we are not going to have so much fields over there. So we can do that login and sign up in model pop-up. So we won't need a separate component. After that, book flight. This component will be necessary to here. In this component, we will have a form to book the flight. Then the booking component, this same component we will use in the website also to show the bookings done by the particular customer. Again, based on the role, we will call another API. So these are the various components we are going to need. Now let's get started. Let me just close. Now in app folder, I will create a folder like website. Before that, let's create a pages folder. And in pages folder, we will create website. And just like that, we will again need one folder that is admin. So as discussed, we have created two folders. Now in admin folder, I have to create the admin components, which we are going to need. So now I have to create a new component. So ng generate, you can write generate or the G also. Component. So I'm just using shortcut. So first component we will create. Again, we forgot like we need a login component and a layout component. I will explain layout component. Why do we need now? So first component we will create is as a login. Let's start with the login. This login component will be used for the admin, not for the website. In for website login, we will use the model pop-up only. Then we will need a layout component. Layout component as in when we go to the login now, we don't need to see, we just need to see the proper login page. We don't need to see the navbar and everything. So for that, to keep the navbar, we are creating one more component, that is layout. Once we go ahead, then you will understand why this component is necessary. So these are the two extra components we normally need. Then we just have to create the remaining component. So I will just pause it now and I will create. So in admin folder, you can see I have created all the component, that is airport, all flights, booking, city, layout, login, and the new flight. Now come back to the website. So right click on the website, open in an integrated terminal. Now here we will create the components we are going to need for the website. So first component, that is search. So ng generate component, search. Let's enter. Then we will need book flight only. So in website we will have just two component, search and book flight. So once you create all the components, so as I have mentioned, like this is an Angular 17 project, but I have while creation I have added standalone false. So it is just a normal project it is created. So once you create the component, all the entries will go into the app folder, sorry, app module in the declaration section. You can see all are added in over here as we have opened the app module. Let's do the remaining thing. So after component creation, like we are going to need, we are going to make the API call. So we need HTTP client module. We are going to create the form using ng model. So we need forms module. So let's just add that. So in import section, we need to add forms module. And just like that, we need to add HTTP client module also. So once you select, you can see imports has been added at the top. So these are just the initial steps you need to do. In app model, you should have forms module and the HTTP client module. If you are going to design forms using reactive forms module, so you can add reactive forms module. In this project, we will try to create reactive and the template. Both we will try to cover. So what do we say? We can cover all the concept also within the project. So in the app module, we have added our models which we are going to need. Now let's close the app module. Once we create the component, next thing like we have to create the routes. So in app routing module.ts, let's create the route. So this is the basic app routing module.ts empty. Now here we have to create the route. So first, this is a single project, right? Single project will be used for admin and the website also. So what should be our landing page? Means when someone hits our application, what should be the default page? It should should be visible. So we will consider app component for now. So in app component, we will keep our website navbar. Means app component will have a website thing. Okay. So here we will keep our navbar. Now the first component I will create is for, what do I say? Search. For the website, we will create a search component. So path. Now I'm creating a default route. So path will be empty. Then redirect to it will redirect to the search page, and path my strategy we have to pass with the value full. So this is my default route. After default route, we have to create a path for the search. So path search, the same name. And on search, we have to open the component. So component will be search component. So this is our first route. Just like that, I will create all the, again, one more like book flight. So path colon book hyphen flight. And the component I will open is book flight. Now in Angular 17, I mean, from Angular 16, we got Let's say you have a tab when we open. So open the tab, open any component into the browser. So we get a tab name, right? So this is what I'm talking, whatever you see over here. So just like that, I should see particular route tab name. So that we can give over here only. So that with the title. So let's say for search here, I will provide the tab title as search light. Then here I will give the title. So if you are using Angular 15 or before that, so you will have a title service. You cannot write over here because this came from Angular 16 or 15, I think. I don't exactly remember. But before that, we had a title service. Search price, book, new ticket. Let's give a name like that. Now, these two routes are used for, okay, one more component we are going to need, that is bookings. So path, bookings, and component. For booking, let's create one more because the structure is going to change in the website. So for showing customer booking in website folder, I'm creating one more component, my bookings. So this component will be responsible to show the bookings particular logged in customer has done. Now, so bookings, the component will be my bookings. So in website, we are going to have these three, what do we say, routes, bookings. Now, when it comes to the admin path, so in admin path, we have a login page. So now here, once we navigate to the login page, we should not see the navbar and everything. Once we do the login, then it should land login, it will land to the another component where it can see navbar and everything, admin panel, admin template. So for that, we just have to do some proper routing. So now path will be empty. Component will be layout component. So while creating component, I have created extra component that is layout. Now here, all the component, sorry, after login will be children of this layout component. Means we are talking about admin only. Once user logged in, then all the component he is going to see that will be part of the layout component, because in layout component, we will have the navbar for admin panel. Means just like admin template, we will have a sidebar or the tab bar. So what are the components we are going to visit after the login? Those routes will be part of the children of this layout component. So here again, we need to create the routes. So first light airport, the component we will open is airport. Sorry, airport. This is the first component. So in this children, we will just create all the component from over here only, not from the website, because website are the, without login only, we will be able to access this page. So that's why it will be on the global level. So path, then all lights, component, lights. So just like that, I will create the remaining. So for now, I will just pause. So the layout component children, you can see all the components which are going to be accessible once vendor or the super admin logged in, all routes have been created. But we need a login page. So that will be at the top, because login page will be accessible if we are not logged in, right? So that will be over here. So login component, login component. It's comma. So this should be your component structure. So if you are following my video and if you are trying to complete the whole thing, don't miss any step. You do exactly the same. So same output, whatever I will get, you will also get. That is guaranteed. But just don't miss any steps. If you are new, if you miss anything, then you will stuck with an error and you won't get anything like what is going wrong, right? So just follow all the steps. So till now, after project creation, we have created components and we have created the routes also. Now, next thing is, after component creation, we have to start with the actual work, like all the API integration and everything. So first we will complete the admin part, because once we have created flights and cities and airport, then only on the website we will be able to show the data. So first we will complete the admin part, then we will start with the website part. Now, so first the basic crowd operation where airport and the city we will do. So let's get started. So first component we will complete is like the CRUD operation of city. So we just have two APIs. Delete, I have not enabled it because once you delete the, so these APIs are anyone can use it. So it gets deleted. Someone try to delete, then whole application won't work. So that's why delete is not there. But so this API is there. That is add update bulk city. So this API is there, which allows you to add multiple city at a single go. So here you can see the object you need to send with the object means the data you need to send is an array. So here you can send multiple cities in one go and all the cities will be inserted. Same, this API will be helpful for update and the delete also, and get all city to load all the cities available. So with these two APIs, we will do the CRUD operation of our city. So let's start now. So this is our city component. Now this is like a bulk update. So we can use inline editing in the table. So we can send whole table data in one go to update all the cities. So first, now, uh, I can go in detail, like we can create service and everything. But for now, I'm keeping API calls into my component only. So to make API call, we have already added forms HTTP client module into my app module. So here, first, like what are the service call we are going to need, that we will create. So constructor, round bracket, private, HTTP client. Let's add the import for HTTP client. It is not suggesting. Let me just add it. Angular slash common slash HTTP. Then HTTP client will be over here. Why it is still giving error? HTTP client is declared but not used. Okay. Now, so first API call we will make is to get all the cities. So get all city function this dot HTTP, sorry, HTTP colon HTTP client. So this dot HTTP dot get API call. So for get API call, we need to pass the URL. So now the URL I will be using is, let me just go back. Get all city. This is the API which I'm going to use. So let's just try it out, execute. So this is my API. So I will just copy it and I have to paste it over here. So this is the API which will allow us to get all the cities currently we have created. So we need to subscribe it. Now here we are going to get the data. So that data also we need to store it. So city list variable I'm creating. Obviously it is going to be array of objects. So I'm making as any. I'm not going to create interface and class. In other projects, I have already done that. So you can create class or interface and then instead of any, you can use it. So city list, whatever the data you get, that you are going to store into this variable. So city list is equal to res dot data. So if you see my API response, so you get the object and in data property, you have the actual data. So likewise, result dot data I'm storing. Now on the page load, we need to make the API call. So we need to implement on init lifecycle hooks. So on city component implements on init. And once you do on init, you need to add the ng on init function as well. And in this function, we will call get all city function like that. So once page load, we will have the data into this component. Now we can display the data into our table. So here I'm creating just a bootstrap row called grid structure. In here, table will be there. Let's add bootstrap class, table hyphen bordered. Now in table, we are going to have a T head, which will be for storing our headings, TR and TH. First, like serial number, I will keep it. Then we don't have that much properties in the city table, just city name is there. And so T head is done. Then we have T body, and T body again we will have TR, and here we will have TD. Now, so TR we are going to iterate. So at the rate ngFor star ngFor let city of our array variable name. So our array name variable name is city list. So this will go over here. First we will display the data. Now we need to have the serial number also. So let SR is equal to index, and here SR plus 1, because indexing will start from the 0. So we are just adding it. And here we need to display the city name. So city dot, let's see the response. So city name. ID we normally don't show because that is a primary key and it should be kept hidden. So let's just save city if we are able to access. Let me just check why city is not accessible. City is there. Let's check if we have any error. Okay, sorry. In app component, we had not added router outlet. So let me just add router outlet over it. So make sure you also add the app in-app component, router outlet is over there. So then we need city. Still layout is there because now let me just add, because the city component is a child of layout. So in layout also again we will need our router outlet. I mean layout component we are going to have the navbar and everything. So for now, before adding the navbar and everything, I'm just trying to complete the basic component. So that's why I'm adding router outlet save. Now you can see on the page load, we have got one API call, and whatever the response we get from that API, that we have displayed into the table. Now, so now we need to do the inline editing. So once we get the data, right, in the city list, once we get the data, we need to add one more flag into that array. So I'm using for each loop. And in for each loop, I will use for each on the city list, and I am adding one element, one property, that is edit, and with by default false property, like this. So on the page load, we get the data and we are storing the data into the city list and using for loop, I'm adding one more property into each object, that is edit false. Now we have to add the inline editing. So inline editing, as in this, instead of directly displaying this should be visible into my text box. So input type will be text, and value, instead of value, now we have to bind the data using ng model. So ng model, you need to bind city.cityname like this, and we will add a placeholder also. Enter city name like this. So let's just save and check. I think we won't need this, so let's remove that. So you can see whatever the data we are getting, that is visible in the table. Now we need an add button over here. Once we click add, a new empty row will be added over here. So let's add an add button above this row. Let me just create one more row. So I'm just copy pasting this. We need a button. So let's create a button. add new. Let's align it to the right side text and let's format it. Now on click of add new, what we are going to do, we are going to push an empty object into our array. So click event, add new function. So let's create this function. So now in add new, what we are actually going to do in this city list, we are going to add an empty object. So this dot city list dot unshipped. I'm using unshipped because we need to push element at the top and the object will be rather than creating it over here. So let's create constant obj equal to curly bracket. Now the properties we are going to need are nothing but the properties we know. City ID, but city ID will be initialized with 0 and city name that again with empty. So we are just pushing empty object. So object is created. Now this object we need to push it over here. So let's just save and check it. So on click of add, see empty row is added over here, right? Now we will keep adding it, but we need to make the save API call also. So we will need one more button before after add new, we'll add one more button that will be bulk update. So let's add it bulk update. Now we will need another API call which will actually save and update the data. So that will be, let's say, bulk update city function curly bracket. Now here we are going to make an HTTP post API call. So HTTP dot post API call is going to be there. For post API, we normally need two parameters, URL and the object. So URL up till this now it will be constant. Just the actual API endpoint name will change. So let's get that. So this is my actual API endpoint. So this will go over here. Let me just copy. It will go over here. Now to this, we need to send the whole of array. So array is like what we need to send. This API accept only array. So we are sending the whole array. Let's subscribe. Any. Now, if you see the response you will get this kind of. So result is the property which will make sure like the data is successfully inserted or not. So this additional check you can add with an if statement. So if res dot result, if it is true, we can show the alert like city bulk update success. And in error, we can show the error. So alert in the message property, you get the alert. Whatever the message you get from the API side, that you will get into the message property. Now, once we do the update, right, we don't need to make the API call because data is already there. So this function we need to call on this button click. So let's just save and check. Now we should be able to add update the data. Now on the page load, we got the API call and we have just got 4 record. Now let's try to add one new record. Let's name it Jalgaon or let's make it Thane. We don't have airport in Thane, but just for city I'm adding. Now if I say bulk update, see one API call is success and data is also there. Even if I refresh, now you will get to see Thane. It will move at the end because the latest oldest record is coming at the top. But what about update? So instead of Nagpur, let's make it Nagpur 2. Instead of Pune, let's make it 2, 3. This will be updated because the whole object we are sending for the update. See, even after refreshing, we are getting the same data. Let's make it original one, bulk update. So with just two API, we have done adding also, updating also, and the list. Delete, I have not enabled it. So delete won't be needed over here. So city component is completed. Just like city, we are going to complete airport also because if you see the airport API, that is also with the bulk update. See here also it is a bulk update. So let's just start on that. So after completing the airport thing, we have to start working on the creating flights. So all flight is the component where we are going to show all the flights created till now. So let's check the API for that. I might have some data already created. Let's just check that. Try it out, execute. Yes. So you can see currently I just had one flight. So in this component, first we are going to show all the flights created by, because currently we have not implemented the role-based login, but let's consider we are logged in with the super admin. So we should be able to see, what do we say, the flights created by all the airline, because I'm a super admin. So I should see the data of all the super airlines, whatever the flights they have created, I will be able to see all everything. So for super admin, this is the API. I will add one more API, which we will use in the airline login, where we have to pass the logged in vendor ID also. Now, so in this component, let me just close everything. So now we are talking about the all flights component. So in this component, first, like we have to get all the flights from the API. We have to show that into the card or the table layout. Then on click of add button, we will redirect to the new flight. So first let's create the structure. Call 12. I will have button over here. Hope screen is visible. So btn hyphen primary. Let's say add new. Let's add it to the text end. Now this is the button we are going to have where we will redirect to the next page. Now before after that we will have row dot call 12, and in that we will have table. Now for airport and the city, the APIs were bulk update, but for flight it is the normal API, basic CRUD, how we used to do that. We are doing like that. So table, let's add, let me just copy so that we don't waste time. So this is same structure. We are going to need it over here also. Now, so let's see what data we get in the flight. So we are getting lights flight ID is the primary key, so we don't need to send that flight number. So, or before that, first we will display like who is the vendor. So vendor name like Indigo, SpiceJet, whatever the airline name is. So instead of that, let's show the airline. Then we have to show their logo also. So logo is coming over here. Logo we will show in the TD only. We won't have a separate column. Then flight number. For each flight, there will be a specific number so that we will identify like what is the flight and by its number. Then we will have airport, arrival airport name, I mean from origin city. Then departure airport name, just like from and to, arrival airport, just like that, departure also. Then we need the date of travel. So travel date, when this flight is scheduled. Travel date, price, like what price they have decided. Then we are going to need action button. There we will have edit and the delete. So it will be action. Now these are the various columns I'm going to have. Now on the component, we have to get all the flight. So we have already created a service, right? So there we will create an API call function. So just like this, get all city, we will need get all flights. Now this, you can see in every function, this URL is getting repeated. So either you can create an environment folder or you can create a variable over here and put that over here. right? So this thing like creating environment and everything I have already covered in the previous project. So you can just refer that. But this project was very, I mean, so many functionality was there. So that's why I'm skipping all those things. Now this is a URL. So let's copy, let's paste it over here. Now this function we have to call into our .ts. So first we need to create the API call service. So master private master colon master service. Now on payload we are going to make the API call. So obviously we are going to need on init. Let's implement it also. ng on init. We will need one more function, load flights. Now, so here we are going to make that API call. So this dot master dot get all flights. This is the function we are going to integrate. Dot subscribe. Whatever the response we get, that we need to store it somewhere. So I'm creating variable flight list colon any. Again, I'm repeating, you can create interface or class instead of any. res.data. Now, this function we have to call on the page load. So here we will call it. And now we have to use this variable to iterate the tr. So in tbody, we have to write tr. And on this star ngFor let item of flight list. And whatever the number of th we have decided, that number of td we are going to need it over here also. So serial number we are going to need. So obviously let sr is equal to index. And sr we will print it over here. SR plus 1 because it will start from the 0. TD. Here we will display item dot. So now this is the common thing we will have. So I will just copy paste. Now first, like what are the things we have said in the TH that we need to get? So airline means vendor name. Before this only, I will display the image also. SRC will be in the property binding. Whatever the image URL we get, that we will display it over here. Item dot vendor logo URL. And let's add style, width. Let's say 50px. And height also same. And let's add border radius also so that a radius circle will be there. 50%. After vendor name, we have to show the flight number. So this is the flight number variable. This will go over here. Then arrival airport name. So arrival airport name. Then we have departure airport name. Then we have travel date. So travel date. Now travel date, you can see day, time is also coming. So we will just add a date pipe. Sorry. Travel date. Then we have to add a date pipe. So date with dd hyphen yy. This is just the format I'm passing. And the last one is like price. Arrival time also we have to show, but let's just complete it for now. And in the action, let's keep it as an empty. Let's just save all and let's check if we are able to see the flights. Yes, so here you can see we are able to see the flights. But why this logo is not in the wrong? Right now, on click of add new, we have to navigate to the new flight so that we will be able to create the new flight. So on click up over here, add new. So we will use RouterLink and we have to navigate to the new flight route. Let's get that route. So this is the route. On click of add, we will navigate. So let's just test if we are able to navigate. So if we click, you can see we are able to navigate. So now here we have to design the form. So let's check the API, like what properties we have. Where do we have add or update bulk? Like, oh my God, this is also bulk update API only, but we will pass only one object at a time. Now, so what are the things we have? Flight ID is my primary key. Flight number we have to show. Departure airport ID or airport dropdown we have to show. Time we will enter. Arrival airport ID again. The airport dropdown we will show. Time we have to enter. Price, total seats, flight vendor ID will be logged in. Like whatever the user is logged in, whatever the airline we have logged in, that we need to read from the local storage, and that we have to display it over here. But before that, if you see, we are logged in, but we have not shown our, what do we say, logged in username or the logoff button over here. So let's complete that first. This should have been completed when we implemented login, but we missed that. Let's complete it now. So in the layout component, we have the navbar, just like over here. So now here we need to show logged in username and the logoff button at the end. So let me just get that code. So this thing you need to add after the div. This also I have copied from over here only. Example was there on the Bootstrap side. Now here, instead of search, we will first display the logged in username. So here, let's get the label, and inside the label, we will show the logged in username. So now logged in user, when we did the login, we have stored the logged in user data into local storage. So this was the key. So now we just need to read it. We need to read the local storage data, and that we will display on the label. So constructor I'm creating. Now in constructor, I will read the data. So first I will create a variable logged user data :any. Now in constructor, we need to read the local storage data. So constant local data is equal to local storage dot get item. While reading the data from the local storage, we need to use the get item method. We need to pass the key. But once you read the local storage data now, before accessing it, you need to add a null check. Like if data is there or not properly. So if local data not equal to null, then only we will assign the data. Now, one more thing, when storing the data into local storage, we have converted data into string format. Now, in the local storage, we have the data into string format, but if you are assigning it to variables, so we need to again convert it back to the object format. So this dot logged in user data is equal to JSON dot parse method you need to use. So parse method will convert string data into object format. Means obviously, meaning if it is string, we have the object form data. So this you need to pass it over here. Right now in this variable, we will have the data. So let's just print that. We just need to add an null check, because at the initial, we don't have anything over here. So it might break. So that's why I'm adding question mark dot. Then let's check the local storage, in which property we get the username or email ID, something we will get. So in application, local storage, flight user. So we can show email. And here we will have Logoff button. And on click of Logoff, we are going to remove the local storage data, and again we will redirect to the login page. So click Logoff. Let's create this function as well. So again, I'm repeating, I should have completed this when we implemented login, but we forgot. So I'm clearing it right now. So now we need to remove the data from the local storage. So remove item is the method we have to use, and the key, the same key where we have stored flight user. And after we remove, we need to navigate to the login page also. So from .ts we have to navigate. So obviously we have to create the service of router outlet. Sorry, router router. Now, once we remove this dot router dot navigate by URL, we need to pass login. So once user click on log off, we will remove the local storage data and we are redirecting to the login page. So let's just save. So you can see whatever the user is logged in, the username is available over here. Now, if I click, now you can see over here, currently in the local storage, we have the flight user data. But if I click on log off, you can see that got removed and we have navigated successfully to the layout, login page, right? So let me just log in again. What was the detail? Let me just check the detail. Let me just get me the login detail. I forgot like what was the vendor detail. This is the database, mini project. Flight users. Yes, so this was the email ID. Let's copy and the password is 112211. Login. Yes, so we are logged in. Now, from all flights, when we navigate to the add new, we have to design a form now. So this component is solely responsible to create new flight only. So let's just close this. Let's close this. Let's close this. Now in new flight component, we have to design the form. So again, let's check the object. What do we need? Add update bulk flight. So if you see, this is a bulk update API, but we are designing a form in a single way only. Means just the normal standalone form. But while sending, we need to send this in format of the array. So I will explain like how do we do that. But what things we are going to need in the form. So these are the various things we are going to need. So let's just try to design the form. So first row, call, well, let's show the heading like in S4 new flight form. After that, let's create a container. Let's move this into container as well. And after this, so this is the form I have created for the new flight registration. So this is very simple form I have created using Bootstrap for things only. So we have a flight number, then schedule date, like on which on for which particular date this flight is going to be scheduled, departure time, arrival time, departure airport, arrival airport, total seat, how many seats are going to be there, and the ticket price, the initial ticket price. Now, so if you see here, we have departure airport and the airport arrival airport. So here we need to add the drop downs we get from the all airport API. Let me just show you the HTML form also. So you can see simply row column structure I have created with text box. Then total seats, travel date only we need to make it date so that we get the calendar. So this is my form. Now in over here, we need to call get all airport so that we can bind the data we get from the airport to both of that drop down. So again, in the service, we already had created the API to get all airport. Now we just need to create the service function over here. So let's create constructor, private, master, my service name, master service. Now on the page load, we need to do that. So obviously we need to all implement on init. So this is just a repetitive thing. We need to again do it in every component. Ng on init. Just like that, we will need one function load airport. So this dot master dot what we need our airport. So get all airport is the API, which this is the function which will make that API call. Subscribe result colon any. Now, whatever the data we get from that particular API, we need to store it also. So let's create a variable to store it. Airport list. Again, this project I'm keeping it for very simple so that freshers are also able to understand. That's why I'm not using a sync and everything, keeping it very straightforward and simple. But if you know like how do you use a sync pipe, you should definitely implement it. So let's go it like that. Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to store it in this variable. So res.data. Now we need to call this on the page load. Now in this variable, we are going to get the airport list. Now we just need to make our drop downs option dynamic. So this is the drop down. So here we need to create option, and over here we are going to create for loop. So star ngFor let item of airport, and the value will be property binding. So item dot, let's check the proper response. Get all airport. So airport ID is my primary key. So this I will bind to the value, but while displaying, I need to display airport name. So item dot airport name, and the city also I will display, so that if someone doesn't understand by the airport name, but after that comma, I will display the city name also. So item dot city name, because in the get all airport, we are getting get all airport API, we are getting the airport name plus city name also, like this. So same option we have to just copy paste and paste it over here, because both both the drop down will have the same number of airport. Let's just save and check if we are able to see the options of the airport. Sorry, just let me save all. So over here you can see options are coming. But if you see by default, the first option, whatever the first option we have, that is coming as selected, but we don't need that. So to avoid this, we add an empty option. So value will be empty and this will act as a placeholder. Select airport. The empty option we have to add it over here also, so that by default first option will be selected like this. Now on click of create flight, we need to call our API. So let's see that API. So the airport name is API name is this. That is add bulk update, add update bulk flights. So this API again I have created with bulk update. I should have created it as a normal, but you can just create the object like object, proper object, but while sending is it you can send it in the array format. So let's just copy this. Now we need to convert an object. So in new into .ts we need to create object. So that will be flight obj colon any fields we have. Again, I'm creating variables with data type any, but you should create class and interface if you know it. If you don't know it, just watch any of the previous project video of mine. You can implement interface and class. Now, so these are the object we have created. Now we just need to bind this object to our form. So flight number. So using ng model. Now here object dot. This is going to be common. So I will just copy paste first. Now again, I can do a smart thing. I will search it and I will replace that with this so that it will save my time. Right. So everywhere it is now replaced. Now I just need to bind the things, proper properties. So that also I will open it over here. So this is flight number, then schedule date, that is nothing but travel date. Then we have departure time, arrival time. Arrival time and the departure time, I have kept it as a string only. Normally it could have a time proper data type, but I have kept it as a string so user can enter whatever according to their necessity. Then airport. So let's add it over here. Let's add it over here. Now, first departure airport ID we have to bind over here. Then arrival airport ID we have to bind it over here. Then total seats. So this flag will go over, this property will go over here, and the price, the last one. Now, so if you see the flight vendor ID is remaining. This we have to read from the local storage. So once we create the object in the constructor, we have to read the local storage data, whatever the logged in user data we have got. So that we have already done in the layout page. So I'll just copy paste it. So this is that reading thing. I will paste it over here, and in flight object, so we don't need the whole thing. So this dot flight object dot in flight vendor ID, we need to push dot vendor ID. Let's check the network tab and in which property we get the vendor ID. Application, local storage, flight user. So vendor ID, this vendor ID we need to assign it. So dot vendor ID like this. Now, so we have got everything. Now on click of save, on click of create flight, we just need to integrate our API. So click is equal to on save flight. Let's create this function. I might be going a little bit fast because so many things we have to cover. Now in service, we have to create one function to add a city. So I'm just copy pasting this. Now here, create flight. Now the API name we need. So let's go over here. Let's copy. This is the method name. We have to pass it over here. Now this instead of airport, let's make it flights so that very property parameter names are also proper. Now this function we have to integrate on the button click. So this dot master dot add create flight. This is the function which we have created. Dot subscribe round bracket result colon any arrow function. Now this for this API we need to send the array of object. So here I'm creating local variable constant obj equal to square bracket empty object I'm creating, and inside this I will push my first object. So object dot push, and I'm passing the object, the whole object, that means flight object. So I am creating an array, and inside that array I'm going to have what do we say, first only one element, and this object I now have to pass because this API need array with the object. So I have created an empty array, and I have pushed that the object into my that array, and that array I'm going to pass to my API. So here again the if statement res dot result check alert, let's say flight created success, and in else we will show the error message we get from the API only. So alert, sorry, result dot message. So let's just save and check now if we are able to make, if we are able to create the flight or not. So now on the page load, you can see only one API call was there. Now let's try to create it. Let's try to create flight number, let's say DL123. Departure date will be, let's say it is scheduled for 9th. Departure time, let's say 9 p.m. and arrival time will be, let's say 12 or 11:20 p.m. The flight will be originate from Rajiv Gandhi International Airport, Hyderabad. You can see we have added the city. So now it looks more promising that this is the airport name and this is the city. And from Hyderabad, it is going to originate and it is going to land to the Nagpur. Now, one more additional check we have to add it over here on change of the drop down. Let's say I have selected departure ID as Hyderabad, but again, if I select this, I should show the error like from departure and the arrival airport cannot be sent. We will do that, but let's just test the create flag for now. So let's say in this particular plane, I have the total seats as let's say 20 and ticket price Now in actual air booking system, we have a differential, what do we say, for based on the days, it has different ticketing prices there. But just to keep the project idea pretty simple, I'm going to keep a steady fixed price. So let's say ticket price. Again, I don't have business class and everything because that will make project more complex, and it won't be easy to for fresher to grasp the idea and implement the project. So let's say 3000 is the price. Now on click of create flight. Yes, so flight created success. Let me show you the object. So this is the API. Now in payload, you can see array, and inside that we have one object. So in the response, we have got that flight update success. Now if we go on the all flights, you can see two records are there. Here also we need to show the city because we from this reading this, we don't know like from which city it is getting started. So still why it is saying like Rajiv Gandhi International Airport and Rajiv Gandhi. Did we do something wrong? Let me just check the database. We might have done something wrong. Wrong data, because from and the two is same thing is coming. Let's see what data we have. Flights. This is the table we have. Let's check the departure ID airport. No, different is there. This is the record we have just created. Departure airport ID is okay. In both same means departure and arrival, same ID is there. Why is it? Let's check this. This is departure airport ID and this is arrival airport ID. But why it is same? Let's try to create one more flight. Add new DL 1134. Let's select the date 10, 9 a.m., 10:30 a.m. Let's select the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminal and Pune International Airport from Mumbai to Pune. Let's say total suite 12, ticket price 2000. Let's try to analyze what IDs we are sending. Create flight. Let's check the object, what we are sending. So here arrival airport ID is 1 and departure ID airport ID is 4. So while sending the data, we are sending it correct. You can see 1 and 4 we are sending. So let's go back. Let's see if we are getting. Yeah, now it 1132 Pune to Chhatrapati. This is coming fine, but why this got bad? I think we had that selected purposely. Now, so flight creation is success. So just like that, you can add an edit and the delete button. So I will just show you quickly like how you can do that. But I won't explaining like how you do the edit and the deleting, because same thing I have covered in almost project. You can just take a reference of any one and you can complete. So here you just need to add a button. Let's add class btn primary, edit, and just like that, delete button also will be there. Are we having delete API? Yeah, delete API is there, but I might have disabled deleting it because if I try to, if I make it enabled, everyone will delete it and then data won't be visible on the application properly. Now, MX2. So on click of edit, you just need to create a function, edit and the delete, and you need to pass the ID like item.flight ID, and for delete also item.flight ID. Then you can write the API call, just like the basic CRUD operation. Anywhere you might have done, just like that, you need to do it. Now, if you see, we have successfully created flights. So currently 3 flights are there. I need to delete this one, which is having the same. Let me just reload. So this was that. Let me just delete this flight. Now let me just add some more records so that when we start on the website, we should be able to filter properly. So I had created two airlines. With that, I have created certain number of flights from this to this with different date and with different price. Now flights are ready, airports are also ready, city also we have done. Now we can start on the website part. So for website, let me just open my templates. I have already created one UI for the booking. So this is the UI. Let me just run this page. This is already shared in my GitHubs or not. Let me just push it. So under YouTube project template, you can find it and you can just get the code. So this is the UI what I'm talking. So from departure airport, arrival airport, travel date, and number of travels is an optional field. If we click on submit, we need to hit a one API. There we need to send the departure ID and the arrival station ID, airport ID, and you will get the list of planes traveling from this to this. So to implement this, we have one more API. Let me just show you that also. Search flight. So this is the API which we are going to integrate on the search button. Here we need to send the departure ID, arrival ID, and the date of travel. Now, let's just go back to the home page. Click on log off. So this is the search page what we are going to implement. This is the UI what we have to integrate onto this component. So let's just go to our component. So the admin part is done. Now come for the website. Let's close everything. Now, so in website, the search page is what we are talking about. So in the search page, we have to integrate the UI, whatever you are able to see like this. So we will have a navbar and this thing. So navbar, we will keep, let's see like where we can keep the navbar, because in the app component, we have router outlet, right? But here we cannot keep the navbar because for login also it will be visible. So how we can do that? Let me just think how we can do. Just like in the admin also, we have created one more component which will act as a parent. So just like that, let's create a component in the website also. And there we will keep our navbar so that navbar won't be repeated in every component in the website. Ng generate component website landing. Let's try to. Now I'm creating one more component that is website landing, and in this component I will keep my navbar. This is what I'm talking about. So let's try that now. Let's revise the header I'm talking. So let's copy the header and let's paste it into this component. Now routing also we need to modify. So just pay attention, like previously we had a routing like this. Only layout component was there and all the component for the after login we are part of this layout component. Now we need to do something like that for the website also. So let's create it path empty. Component is going to be website landing component and it will have the children's. Sorry, it is going to be array. Now all the routes which are going to be part of the website will move to over here like this. So this is going to be our routes now. And in here also after the header, we will have router outlet so that activated route will be visible over here. Let's save all and let's try to check if we are able to. Yes, so now you can see. No, but why? Okay, search page. Let's go back. So here you can see we are getting the navbar and the search component is getting loaded. So I have not removed this. I have just copy pasted the railway template I was using. So if you are using it, you can just replace the icon. But for now, I'm just keeping it as it is. Now, website component part is done. Routing is also done. Now, in the search page, we have to copy paste the UI, whatever we have created. So this is the section. Let me just copy this. Let's paste it over here. Now I'm going to need the CSS for this also. So let me just get the CSS. It is in my style. So let me just get the whole. Let's copy the whole. Let's paste it in the search page. Let's remove the style section. Let's try to format. We are having some error. Let's remove those. Big one error is there. Okay. Let's try to save and let's check if we are able to see the same page. Yes, so you can see same UI is visible over here. Now, on this page load here, we need to bind the airport drop down. So these things will be this will be drop down and this will be a drop down. So we have to call the airport API and we need to bind the data we get from the airport, just like we have did in the flight creation. So now let's close this. Now in this search component, we have to bind the airport dropdown, right? So again, whatever we have to do, so on init implementation, so implement on init, ng on init, constructor, because we have to create the instance of our service. So private master, master service, load airports, this dot master dot get all airports. We need to subscribe, same thing. That's why I'm doing it in a speed. Just like whatever things we have done in the flight component, that thing, new flight component, that thing only we are doing it over here. So we need a variable to hold the data. Airports. So this dot airports is equal to res dot data. And this function we have to call on the page load. So on ng on init, we will call it like this. So here in this dropdown, we are going to have the airport list. So let's just copy the same thing we have created. So this is the option we are going to need. So let's copy and let's paste it over here. Let me just go back at the top. So instead of this text box, now it is going to be a drop down. Let's remove this. Instead of airport list, the variable name which we have created, that is airports. It will go over here, just like let's copy, let's paste it over here, let's save and let's check if we are able to see the airports. Yes, so we are able to see. Let's just add the class, that is form select, form hyphen select. Let's copy this and let's put it over here also. But still it is not matching the UI. Let's see how it was there. Let me just see the UI. So I have just added this CSS and now it is looking like the existing one. Now, so here I can select this and from and to, and on travel date, we need to select the date. And once we click on the submit, we need to integrate this API. So let's, before that, we need to create what we can say, three variables that we will bind to our particular form. So, or you can create an object, then you can bind. So let's create an let's create a three variable because that is very pretty simple and it is very understandable. So let's say from airport number, let's initialize with 0. Then after that to airport, or you can create departure and the arrival also, whatever you feel, arrival date. date. Let's keep it as a string only. Then we have to initialize it. Now, so this variable we have to bind to our respective text box. So now again, our form is inside the form text. So we need to add that, do we say, name attribute. So name attribute, ng model. So this is the actual important part in our application where we are searching it from airport, and same name will go over here. Let's copy, let's paste it over here to airport. And the date, travel date. Now how many members are there, number of travelers, that we are not doing it. So but for just UI purpose I'm keeping it like that. Let me just remove. Now, so on click of this search, instead of submit, it will be search. Now on click of search, we need to call our API. So let's click on click event, get search flight, the function name. Let's create this function. Now from this function, we have to integrate that API. So let's go to service. Now here we need to create one API. So this is going to be get API. Now let's just first test here. Then we will get the URL. So just I'm passing the dummy data. 1203. Let's try to execute. Now I just need the URL so that we have to create same like that. So this is going to be my URL. So let's copy, let's put it over here. Now, if you see, we need three parameter: departure airport, first like departure airport ID, colon number, then arrival airport ID. Because for this API, we need to send three parameters. So that parameters we are creating, and the travel date. Let's add it as a date string. And now we just need to make the URL dynamic. So instead of this one, we will concatenate it. Arrival airport IP. Let's copy. Instead of these two, we have to add arrival airport ID. And the last thing, we need to pass the date. So here either plus and the travel date we need to pass. So our API call function is ready. This will be search flight. Now here we need to call that this dot master dot search flight, and we need to pass three parameter. So this dot, what do we say, from airport, then this dot to airport, and the travel date, this dot travel date, and we have to subscribe. Any. Now whatever the data we get, that we will store it into a variable. Flights list colon any square bracket empty. So whatever the data we get, that we will store into this variable. So flight list is equal to res.data. Now on click of search, we are going to hit this API, and whatever the flights we get, that we are storing it over here. Now this variable we just have to integrate on the UI to make the flights look like dynamic. So this div I'm talking about. So this UI is coming from the table. Okay, not table, just a div structure I think I have created. Let me just, so let's remove the static one, and here we will use our for loop. So star ngFor let flight of flight data. Now instead of this static thing, so there also we get the flight dot. Let's try to find properly. think logo URL we get. Let's see, get all flights. I just need to see the properties we have to bind. So logo URL, vendor logo URL, the vendor name. So flight dot vendor is nothing but the airline. Okay, just keep in mind. I should, while creating table, I should have created as the airline, but let it be now. Flight dot, we have to add the flight number. So this is the property. This we have to bind it over here. Then arrival time, departure time. So flight dot departure time and the arrival time. What is this? Okay, price. So here we need to show the price. Flight dot price. So let's just save and let's see if we are able to search the flights. So let's just check the network, like if we are sending the proper data. So currently we don't have flight over here. Let's try to search from Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminal to Pune on the date. Let's say on the 9th, I have added the record. When you are implementing this, make sure you add flight before you do this, because I have added, because right now I'm recording the video, so I have created some flights for this particular date. But when you are trying to implement, make sure you go to Swagger, you add the flights for that particular date, or you can search the same. Now let's click on search. So now you can see our API call success, departure, airport ID, and the date also we are sending. Now for from Mumbai to Pune for this particular date, only 3 flights are there. 2 of the SpiceJet and 1 is from the Indigo. Now let's from air. This is from Mumbai to Pune. Now let's try to make it Nagpur and let's click on search. No record is there. Let's try to Hyderabad. No record is there. Let's try to Hyderabad from Nagpur. Only 1 flight is there. So this is the actual mechanism what I wanted to explain. Now, like whatever the option we have selected over here, that we need to display. Like you can again, I mean this from and the to destination. This is what I'm talking about. You can just make it dynamic. Whatever the city you select, that city you can show it over here, and the to city also. Now, once we click on book, now we have to book this ticket. So the API for book ticket, let me show you the API. So this is the API for booking the ticket. But before booking the ticket, we first need to allow customer to log in, right? Without login, because here we need to send the customer ID. So customer first has to log in, then only he will be able to book the flight. And this is the API for booking the flight. Flight ID is what we have to send. Customer ID, logged in customer ID, booking date, like what the travel date is, total amount, like whatever the price we have. Then what number of passenger, like how many tickets I'm going to book. So those number of, what do we say? My guest, traveler list, I have to add it. So now on click of book, we can open the model pop-up, and in the model pop-up, we can do that booking form, right? Because we don't have anything else. On click of book model, we will open the model pop-up, and there we will design. So on click of book, now we have to open the model pop-up, and there we will design the form to add the number of passengers who will be traveling. So we need a bootstrap model. So let's go to bootstrap site. Let's get the model code. So this is just my model code, what I need. Let's copy it. Now in the search component at the end, I'm pasting my model code. Let's remove the unnecessary things. Now on click of book, now I have to open this model pop-up. So this is my model ID. So book model I'm giving is, now on click of book, now I have to open that model pop-up. So let's write a click event. book ticket round bracket. Now let's create this function. Now here I'm going to open the model pop-up based on the ID by selecting that particular div. So here I will be write constant model. First I have to select that element using document dot get element by ID, get element by ID, and I have to pass the ID which I have given. So this ID we have to copy and it will goes over here, and we need to add a null check, like if model is not equal to null means it has got that particular element, then we will add the style. So model dot style dot display, and we have to open it. So block CSS we have to add. Just like that, I will need a close function. So I'm just copy pasting this, and this will be close model, and instead of block, now it will be none. So that model will be hidden. Now on click of book model, we are opening this model pop-up. Let's just check if model pop-up is opening. On click of book. Let's search Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminal to Pune. On the date 9th, search. Right. So if I click on book now, model pop-up is opening, but it is going over here. Why is it? Do we have any CSS? Let me just find why it is going over there. No CSS is there. Let me just find out why it is going over here. So in my search component.css, I had this CSS with star. So because of that, it was going over there. So let's go on line number 7. Let's remove it. We don't need this. So let's remove it. Body also, we don't need it. Now let's just save it and check it. Now if we open, so you can see model pop-up is opening proper here. Now what are the things we are going to need? So flight ID is not, we already have. When we click on the book now, we will get the flight ID. Customer ID is the logged in customer ID. Booking date, we know like what, on which date that, no, I mean, uh, sorry, booking date as in on which date we are trying to book this ticket. So new date, we will pass it. Total amount, we will just calculate. Now here, this is going to be dynamic, means multiple guest number, guest information I have to click. I am buying the ticket, but for how many passengers I am going to book it. So travel name, contact number, and other number. These three fields going to be there. So let's design the form. So over here, I will just create row dot call 3. Inside that I will need label, name, and after name we will need text box. So input type text class form hyphen control. Let's close it. Just like that, I will just copy paste it. Name. Then what do we need? Contact number and other number. Contact number and other number. Just a validation, government proof, anything. After that, we will need a button. So we now need a label. Let's just copy this. Let's put it over here. Instead of danger, let's make it primary and add button. And below this row, again, we will create one row, and there we will have the table. On click of add, we will keep adding the guest list, passenger list over there. Dot 12. And here I will have table, class, table. Now here we are going to have T head. We'll have TR, TH, serial number, name, contact number, and the Aadhaar number. Just like the T head, we are going to need the T body also. Let's just design it for now. Now, so we have created 3 elements. So now we have to create the object just like the one above. So let me just copy this. We will create an object which we will bind to that form. So passenger obj colon any. Now this object we have to bind with the ng model to the respective text box. So here square bracket, round bracket, ng model dot. Let me just copy paste this. Traveler name. Always take copy the properties from the Swagger only, because if you try to copy, manually write it, you make the spelling mistake, then API won't save the properly data and it won't throw the error also. So better make sure you copy paste it. Now on click of add, we need to create call one function, add passenger. Let's create this function. Now on click of add, we are going to push this passenger into another array that will be passenger list, that we will send to our API. So here this dot, now it will be like we have to break the connection, because one variable we are trying to push into the array, so it will hold the connection. So for that I have to create a local object over here. Obj is equal to this dot passenger object, but I have to stringify it. So JSON, you also do the same, otherwise you will face the error. JSON.stringify. I will explain why I'm doing this, but let me just complete it. Again, I will convert new obj is equal to JSON. I'm just converting the object into string, and again, I'm converting it back to the object, so that I will just disconnect the connection it has with the object and the array. And now this dot passenger list dot push, I will push this new object. Let's just save. And the passenger list array, I will iterate on the tr. So here star ngFor let item of passenger list td. Now how many tr we have? Just like that, we need to add. We need the serial number. So let sr is equal to index. Here we will print the sr number. So sr plus 1. And in next td, we are going to print the data from item. So item dot, let's just copy paste this 2 more times. Now what are the fields we have that we are going to display? So traveler name over here, then contact number and Aadhaar number. So let's copy that also. Let's just save and check if everything is working fine. Just select full name, 9th, search. Now and click on book. Now you can see we have got this detail. Let's add Chetan and click of add. You can see rows, the particular guest list has been added over here. Let's try Rahul on add. So you can see multiple members I can add. So these are nothing but the passengers or how many tickets I'm going to book. Those numbers I have, those details I have to add. Now we have to prepare the data. So if we see the object for book ticket, this is the object. So let's copy. Now in .ts we will create the object. So booking obj colon any equal to this object. Now this array will be empty initially. Now the booking date will be, I have to get the new date. So new date, then customer ID. So customer ID is nothing but the logged in customer ID. So we are already logged in. So that data we need. So we done the login or not? No, I think we have not done the login part. First, we have to complete the login part. Yeah, so let's just quickly complete the login part. Now on click of login, we need to allow customer to login and the sign up thing, because before booking, customer need to log in also, right? So this is the API which allows us to log in. But before login, first customer need to register themselves. So this is the API by which customer will be able to register. So for registration and the login, again, I will be creating a model pop-up, but that will be in my website landing component, because here I have the login button. So here I will create a model, and there we will have a registration pop-up. So I will just copy the model pop-up code. This will be, let's say, register. Let me just quickly design. I will pause it for now. So just to save the time, I have created the login model. So in the login model, you can say only email and the password input elements are there. Now this is the second model where I have the whole form, whatever the things we need to register. So this is register. Now let's change the model ID, register model, and this is login model. So just like that, we need to create the code for the opening the model pop-up and hiding it. So open register. Again, the same code with what we have written over here to open the model pop-up. I will just copy paste it. This is the code. Let's copy. Let's paste it. Only just the model ID will change. So this is, we are talking about register model. So this ID will go over here. Just like open, we will need a close also. So this is close register, and it will be none. So just like this, we are going to need another functions for the login. So open login, and this will be close login. Now we just need the model pop-up ID. So this will go over here and over here. Now on click of register and the, what do I say, login, we need to open the particular model. So now here you just need to write a simple code. If user is already logged in, we just need to hide the login and show the register. So this, like once we do the login part, we are going to store the data into the local storage, right? But before that, let me just do the normal thing. Then I will show it like how it is going to do. Let me just remove the href. Now on click of login, we have to open the login pop-up. So open login, this is the function we have to do. And just like that, on click of register, I will make the register function. Now let's just test if we are able to open the both model pop-up on the properly buttons. On click of login, you can see login button is visible. Let's close it. Now on click of register, register pop-up is also visible. Now, so now on click of login, the pop-up is also visible. Now we just need to create the object, and then we have to hit the API. So this is the register object. Let's copy. Let's create the object. Like this. Let's empty string with empty double quotes. Now this we have to bind to our register fields. What are the fields we have? So here square bracket round bracket ng model register object dot. So this is going to be common. So we just have to copy this and paste it everywhere. And the address field. Now we just need to bind the things. So here name, mobile number, email, city, address, password. Just like the registration, we are going to need the login object also. So let's go to Swagger. Let's check the login. Only two fields we have, email and the password. So let's create that login obj colon any. Now, just like this, we have to bind to the login model pop-up also. So let's copy. So here we just have two field. So that will we have to bind with login object dot email with password. That's it. Now we need to write the API call. So first let's complete the registration one. So on click of this, we need to add one more button, register, and it will be, let's say, success color. Now on click of this, we need to call our save API, means register API. So click event on save. Let's create this function. Now, obviously we need to make the API call. So HTTP client object we have to create. So private HTTP colon HTTP client. Now here, now we have already created the service. So let's create a function into service. So I'm just copy pasting it. New register, just a function name I'm giving. Let's get the API call. So API call name is register only. So instead of this, register, and the object we have to send. Now the API call function is ready. Now here, so this dot master service, sorry, master service object we have to create, not the HTTP client. Master service, and here this dot master dot register function we have to hit, and we need to pass the data. So this dot register object we need to send, then subscribe. Here we just need to add that normal check for if it is success or not. Then we will close it. First we will display like registration is success. And once it is success, then we will close the model pop-up. So to close the model pop-up, we need to use this function. So this, and if we have the error, we will show error in the else block. So alert from the API only we get it. That's it. So we need to call this function. Yeah, we have already called it. So let's just try to register now. Before that, let's check if we have any customer already existing. Yeah, so currently we don't have any. Let's try to register now. Before that, okay, so register click. Let's try Rahul. Let's enter dummy mobile number. Let's enter Rahul at the rate dummy.com, city Pune 112233. You should add it as input type password, but just to keep it visible, I have kept it like that. Pune. Now let's check the API call. So on click of register, I think I have misspelled some class name, so that's why color is not visible. But let's try and click of register. Yes, so API call is there and it is success also. So whatever the data we have sent, that is over there. Now let's check the API again, get all customer if we are able to see the recently created. Yes, so whatever the user we have created, that is available over here. Now, so next thing we have to do, next thing we have to integrate is live login. So on the login also we need to write one API call. Let's copy. Again I'm repeating, this is not a small project, so obviously it will take some time. So video length is also like that. I hate to create long size videos, but anyhow project video will be long as like this. So I normally try to copy paste whatever I can. So just the method name I'm changing. So this will be login, and the API name is also login, I think. Yes, login. So here login. Now here instead of register, we need to use login, and the object we have to send is login object. And alert also we will show that login success, and close login we need to call. Once the user is successfully able to log in, we need to call this method, that is close login. So let's just save and check if, oh, one more thing. Once we do the login, we need to store the data into the local storage, just like we have did in the admin part. So local storage dot set item. Let's give the name as flight customer and JSON stringify and res.data. So whatever the data we get, that we are just converting into the string and storing into the local storage. So let's just save it. And let's check the login part now. So what was the detail, what we entered? So this was the email and the password is 11. Oh, password is Pune. How come? Something wrong we have did, I think, but let's check it. On the API side, I must have misplaced something, but let's check it. So on click of login, email ID is this and password is Pune. Now on click of okay button also I have not changed. So let's on click of login. Login success is also there. User data we have already got, and in the local storage in flight customer you can see we have stored the data like this. So we are able to log in. Now one more thing you can do, if user is logged in, we should not see this login and the register button, right? Because in the local storage we have already data over here. So in this key, so on the page load we just need to read the data also. So I will create a variable where logged user data colon any. Now in the constructor I will read the data. So constant is local storage dot get item. We have to pass the key. If is local is not equal to null, then we know that in the local storage we have the data. So then this dot logged user data is equal to JSON, because while storing the data we have converted that into the string format. If we have to retrieve it again we need to parse it. So this variable we have to pass it over here. Now this variable we will use over here to show and hide the button. So this login and the registration button will be only visible if star ngIf if this is false. If it is undefined, let's just test it one more time. And one more anchor tag I will add to show the logged in user name. If it is not, and instead of here, we will show the logged in username. So logged user data dot email ID email. So let's just test this functionality. And if it is login also, means if we are showing this data, then we need to show the logoff button also. So here logoff. Let's write the logoff function also. On logoff, we are just going to remove the local storage data, and we will just clear this variable also. So here local storage dot remove item. And this is the key which we have to remove. And this variable also we have to make undefined. Let's just test it now. So currently we are logged in because in the local storage we have the data. So you can see if we are logged in, we are able to see the logged in username that is also from here and the logoff button. If we say log off, you can see again login button is visible. Let's try again. So the email ID was rahul@dummy.com. The password somehow got Pune. I will check it. By the time you use the API, it will be proper. So on the page load, it is not visible because once we do the login, we have not set that data into this variable. So let's just do that also, so that once we do the login, we will able to see the proper logged in username. So we just have to add this over here. That's it. So our login and the registration path is success. Now in the flight component, means in search component we have to prepare the object. So if you remember, we have created the booking object. Now in constructor again we need to read the logged in user data. So that we will just copy paste from over here. We need this data over here, and if the logged in user data is there, we just need to assign dot customer ID, mean logged in customer ID with dot user ID. Let's check the local storage one more time, like in which field we get the user ID. Yes, user ID only with I capital. So this will go over here. So we have in the booking object, we have got the customer ID. Flight ID, we will get it once we click on the book now. So you can see in the wherever we are showing the book now button, that is inside the flight for loop. So here we, while calling this function, we can send flight dot let's send the complete object, or just need a flight ID. Now to this function, we have to catch one parameter, flight ID colon number. Now once we click this function, the in the object, means this booking object, we have the flight ID, so we need to assign it. So booking object dot flight ID, and whatever the parameter you get, that you need to assign it over here. So this flight ID will go over here. Now in the booking object, we have got two fields, flight ID also we have got, customer ID also we have got, but booking date is also there. Total amount is not necessary. You don't need to pass, because obviously we are not integrating payment integration and everything. Just the booking part is what we are concerned. Now the remaining part is flight booking. So these members are going to be available, like who are going to travel. This we are already storing in the flight list. So now on click of save ticket or book ticket, we need to call our API. So that is just the last part. Let me just complete it quickly. Book ticket. Now on click of this book ticket, actual last API we will integrate. So click on book ticket. Let's create this function. Now here in the booking list, in the booking object, we just need to do one more thing. So this dot booking object dot flight booking travelers we need to assign, but that will be coming from the passenger list. So this variable we have to push it over here. Then we can make the API call. So in the service again, we need to add, where is our service, our service master. So here you need to make our API call. So that will be book ticket. Let's get the API URL endpoint. So that is nothing but book ticket only. So let's ticket and the object. Now this function we have to call in the search component over here. So this dot master dot book ticket, and we need to pass this dot booking object dot subscribe result colon any if result dot result extra check alert ticket booked success and we have to close the model pop-up also. So that is nothing but close model function we have to use. So this dot close model, and if we face an error, we have to show that. So else block is mandatory. So alert res dot message. Now I will just add a debugger over here, and I will show you like how object got prepared also. Let's click on save. Let me just show you the bookings also. If we have the booking, so on get all flight booking API I'm showing. Let's execute. So currently we don't have any booking, right? Now let's try to book a ticket now. So I'm trying to from Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminal, Mumbai to Pune on the date 9. On click of search, we will get the data. Then let's say I'm booking Indigo flights. So on click of book now, let's add a member. Let's say I'm traveling. Let's enter some dummy other number. Plus then Rahul is also traveling. Let's enter dummy mobile now, Aadhaar card number. Now on click of booking ticket, we will hit our function. So let me just show you that also how object got prepared. So now in booking object, you can see flight ID is already there. Customer ID is also there. Customer ID we have read from the local storage. Flight ID we have got once we click on that book now. And now in passenger list, we have got the passenger, what we have added in the table. So you can see. So once I add 10, so now your booking object is proper. So flight members are also there, booking date and everything. Just the total amount is 0. That is 0. That is not mandatory to pass. On click of continue, you can see result we have got true. Now let's check the API. If we are having the booking, yes, so you can see we have got the booking. So now the booking ID is 2. Now we need a API where we can show get passenger list by flight ID. So let's check our flight ID. Our flight ID was 4. Now let's say airline system login and they need the passenger list for the particular flight ID. So for execute, I'm not sure about the API, but let's try. Yeah. So you can see Chetan and Rahul. Seat number also got assigned automatically. So now you APIs are there, but I'm limiting my video up till book now only. Now you just have a get all flight booking also, get booking by flight ID, and if you need a passenger list for a particular flight ID, that also visible. So this is how we have completed the flight booking application. Again, I will try to cover the extra things in one of the video, but just this video was already long. So from admin, we have created the flights, and from the website, if customer login, we are able to book it also. So the whole flow we have covered. Now just some things are remaining, like we have to show the bookings. If we click on the booking, we need to get all the passengers who have booked it. Like those things you can do. APIs are already here. You just need to integrate it. That's it with this current video. Please do like and subscribe if you are finding my videos helpful.